welcome to Next in the Queue. Today I'm joined with Shane and Nick Sullivan of the band Joyer. Nice to have y'all on the podcast.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, when I was first doing research for the show, I didn't realize that you were brothers initially.
Yeah, I feel like no one really does because we don't really look alike, but we are. It's true.
Yeah, I know. I feel like you don't look alike at all. I feel like
Yeah,
that's good to have though.
yeah,
Yeah, I
well,
was gonna say that I like that. I don't know. I don't know. I like the how some people think we really do look alike, and then some people don't. I feel like that happens a lot, and it's
this
nice to get different
Different
reactions.
yeah.
reactions.
There's
Yeah.
this new thing that keeps happening though, where people don't know that we're brothers, but they'll talk to us at shows like separately
Mhm.
and think that it's the same person where like I'll meet someone
Yeah.
and and be like, "Hey, what's your name?" And they'll be like, "We just met like an hour ago." And they'll have just spoken to Shane the whole time. Or it's just like, wow, like that would make me think that they thought that we were like twins or something, but I don't know.
And
Uh
Nick, you're the older brother.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, do you guys ever get mistaken for who's older and who's younger? That
I
happens with
think
my
so.
siblings a lot.
Yeah, Shane's taller than me.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of times people actually think that we're twins, like I guess non-identical twins. Um I mean we do like have a similar voice and similar like mannerisms, but yeah, people are just always confused, I think, is the sum of all this.
It's
But
good.
it's cool. We keep them guessing.
Yeah, with my sister, a lot of people think that my middle sister is older than me. I'm the oldest of my sisters.
Yeah.
She's not even taller than me. The thing is, she's 5'2" and I'm 5'6".
Wow. I feel like that's like the default where it's like whoever's taller, they're
Taller
like,
is
oh,
just
Mhm.
older.
actually she's 5'3". She's gonna get mad at me for saying that she's
Big difference.
yeah,
Yeah.
big difference. The inch, it really does matter. Um, so how do you think that growing up together evolved into you making music together?
Think
Um, yeah, we're always pretty into music growing up. Our parents were like just big music fans, so we got exposed to like a lot of music at an early age and we both like that was something that we always bonded over was our love for music and pretty at a pretty early age we started like learning different instruments and that kind of evolved and we got more serious about it and then we didn't really have a lot of people growing up that shared our interests like in the town that we grew up in, so it was just like a natural and super like fortunate thing to have each other because it was like yeah we always had someone to play music with and we have always had like very similar tastes in music, so it was always like a natural thing, like of course why not make music together, we're always around each other and we're into the same things.
yeah, it's just easier. Like for example, my pedal board is like almost exclusively like Shane's pedals that I just use and stuff. Feel like if we weren't brothers, it would be, I don't know,
I
more
wouldn't
awkward.
trust anyone else.
Yeah, I don't know, just stuff like that. Or it's just like easier where like I could bring all Shane's gear up to Boston because like we leave it down here and stuff like that. Just I don't know. There's more trust there, I guess, or
Mhm.
just like I don't know. We're brothers anyways, so like odds are we're going to be sharing other things. Just
Yeah, it's
yeah,
sharing.
yeah.
Yeah, and in a past interview, you said that your parents were kind of like music snobs. Do you think that like trickled down into and affected the way you go about making music or like the music that you're into?
I think so. I think a lot of the stuff my dad was like the big music guy, and I think a lot of the stuff that we listened to he probably wouldn't like if he heard, or like even like this, yeah, I don't know, but he definitely like informed a lot of our tastes. Like we're huge like Beatles heads and
Yeah.
like classic rock in general, and like I don't know, showed us a lot of like weirdo stuff like Captain Beefheart and stuff. So yeah, I think that yeah, wait, what, I think that's all I was gonna say, I guess.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say like I feel like at the time there was like a lot of stuff played for us that like I don't know about you, but I like didn't like or like I feel like would get just like really annoyed about having to listen to like different like weird stuff. But now like all these years later, I've come to like appreciate it. So like I feel like yeah, there was stuff that we were exposed to when we were young that like we got really into, but then there was like yeah, other stuff that just like went over our heads at the time, and I used to just like get so annoyed that like oh like why is my dad playing this like weird music? But like now I've come to like appreciate it so much and be like whoa like what was I thinking back then? This is awesome.
Yeah, and there's like a bit of like a like rewiring that we had to do also because like he because my our parents were snobs, like there's specific pockets of music that's like no that sucks that I feel like
That's
we like
true.
came to rediscover later, but I think that we wouldn't have rediscovered it if our parents didn't get us really into music and like always be hungry to finding new stuff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good
What were
point.
some of the things that you had to like rediscover, like what genres and things
The
like
um
Cure.
yeah, honestly like anything that came out in the 80s.
A lot of
um
80s stuff, a lot of like more like pop driven stuff, I feel like.
that?
Yeah, they were
Um,
definitely like punks. So like anything
yeah,
that wasn't like, especially like 70s stuff, like 70s,
have like
like more,
softer rock,
yeah,
that stuff that we had to kind of find on our own and like untrain ourselves from being like, oh no, that's like lame music.
Mhm.
Even like the Velvet Underground, I feel like they just that was just like a weird thing that they were just like, oh, we don't like this band. So then I feel like throughout childhood, I was like, I don't like this band, and then I finally like listened, and I was like, what? This
You're like,
is
wait.
awesome.
yeah.
Do you think as siblings, do you ever clash just by nature of like being siblings?
I think we like bicker, but it never gets like, I feel like any kind of like butting of heads never lasts more than like a couple of hours, but we definitely do,
Not like
especially
Oasis level.
Not yet.
definitely not. Yeah, not yet. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sometimes like writing will have like a difference of opinion or something, but I think we're pretty good at like resolving anything or not really letting it like affect uh us personally. Like it's more just like the creative aspect that maybe we'll disagree on. But yeah, I don't know. Nothing has ever been too bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we have a good brotherly dynamic.
And do you think also like on the other side of that, do you think being siblings makes it easier sometimes because you can speak criticisms that you wouldn't be able to like outright say to
Yeah,
someone that you're just in
definitely.
a band with?
I feel like
Yeah,
it makes it so much easier because we're such like I don't know, considerate and like conscientious people that I feel like it would be really hard to like give like blunt criticism or like constructive criticism with other people. I feel like yeah, like we get each other and we're able to like have more difficult conversations, I guess. And I just also feel like we've known each other for so long so we have like a really good understanding of each other, so like it kind of streamlines a lot of the writing process and stuff like that where like I don't know. I feel like it makes it yeah a lot easier and like we're able to be as honest as possible because like we both know that like I don't know our our opinions are like important to each other's writing and stuff.
it does make things weird though, like because we're brothers and we're so close, like bringing in anyone else, like we have other people play this live and just like the like feeling of like me and Shane are really like locked in with each other and it just always feels weird bringing somebody else in where I don't know, especially because we're so conscientious. It's like I could tell Shane like, don't play that like that. It sounds kind of bad, and like I don't feel as comfortable doing that with other people. So it is like a weird feeling having someone that I can collaborate with so freely, and then bringing somebody else in that I'm a little bit more reserved around. But it's cool. Cool to have both sides of it.
And then with your band name, do you think that um that irony was like intentional? With it being like called Joyer and like a lot of your songs being kind of more mellow and slower. And
Honestly, probably not. I think that we just kind of like the way it sounded. Kind of wish that we thought about it more, but like when we first started making music, we didn't really like set out to make any certain type of genre or really like perceive it as being like slow, like understated music. It was just kind of what we were able to do, especially with like limited recording capacity. Because like the first stuff that we ever recorded for Joyer was this first stuff we ever recorded like ever. So it just kind of happened to be that way. I think the irony of it came later because I think when we were starting to write stuff or even like name stuff, I didn't really perceive it as being like slow or slowcore. Um, I don't really mind it now, but yeah, it's kind of funny how it ended up that way.
then your latest album, Night Songs, came out April 26th, so about a month ago. Um, what was the process of like creating that album like?
It was a it was like the longest we've gone so far without like releasing something. I think our last thing that we released was like 3-ish, 2.5 years before that. So we really took our time writing this one, which felt really good. Um, I felt like for a while we had a period where we were just like churning out stuff, and like especially with the album before that, there was like so many songs on that, and I feel like we didn't like, I mean, it wasn't like a conscious choice, but I think we were just like having, we weren't as good at like restricting ourselves or like editing things down. So like we really wanted to take time to make sure this one was like something that we felt was like the best we've done yet. So like we recorded like probably like double the amount of songs that actually made it, and then just like hand selected and made sure that we chose like the ones that we felt like were the best. So that was cool, and I felt like it added to like how I felt about the end product, because like it felt like we were really thoughtful and like just like took time with it. And so yeah, that's something that I'd like to keep doing, I feel like.
Yeah, I think we had the intention this time that we wanted stuff that we knew was fun to play live. And that was kind of like a new approach for us because we play all the instruments on all the songs. So like, for example, like most of the drums on the old stuff was really simple, just like 4/4, just kind of there to like keep the rhythm going. Where like on this new album, I wanted to kind of have cool drum parts or like cool guitar parts that were like fun to do when we're on tour playing it every night or stuff like that. So I think like that new intention made things take a little bit longer just because we spent a lot of time just kind of figuring out how we wanted to change things up and how to approach that, I guess.
Yeah, and even like sitting with the songs for longer. Like I feel like with our previous albums we would just like record them and be like, all right, let's like get ready to release it. But like we had like months in between recording sessions to just like sit with what we recorded and like even continue adding to them over a period of time. So like yeah, I don't know. I think just like taking our time was like the biggest difference than recordings in the past.
What do you think switched like that for y'all? Do you think it's just like by nature of getting older, or you just wanted to try something different for once?
I think it's probably both. We like did like two albums in the studio that kind of sounded not the same, but like kind of with the same approach. And then I think just like progressively, I think it was also like a confidence thing, which I guess maybe with getting older and just having more experience, we started kind of just naturally getting like louder live and like figuring out ways to like make our songs a little bit more fun to play and like experience live. And I think once we started noticing that, we're like, let's lean into this more on this new album. Um, so I think that was a big part of it.
Yeah, you talked about your songs being louder. I would agree that like compared to your other albums, this is a lot less slowcore and
And
like more punchy, more like shoegazy. Do you think that comes from newer influences or do you think it stemmed from something else?
Yeah, I kind of feel like probably newer influences in a way. I feel like our tastes have like we've been doing the band for like kind of a while now, so our tastes kind of have evolved over time. And since like so much time had passed since our last release, that was just like a natural progression. But also, I don't know, for me, like I really wanted to like push myself with the songs on this record and like step outside of my comfort zone and try to write some songs that like were more vocal driven or like challenged my singing, because I felt like that was always like what I considered my weakest point in making and playing music. So like I really wanted to like improve in that area. So I kind of set out to like write songs that felt more ambitious for me to sing or just like were a lot more vocal driven, just cuz yeah, I don't know. Just wanted to try something new and just like always looking to like evolve in a way.
yeah, and I think just by the nature of being a fan of music, like every new recording that's out is going to be influenced by something new just because we're always like looking for new bands that we like or finding new stuff. So I think it's probably a lot more clear on this album, but I feel like it's always just kind of been like that.
Biggest influences like this album,
Specific influences on this
like
album, you said?
specifically.
Oh, yeah. There's like a lot of like, I guess like more like poppy sort of indie stuff on this album that I think we were trying to draw from more. I mean, we've always liked Pavement, but I think realizing that our like stuff like Pavement or I don't know, there's this band called Velocity Girl that we really like. Just realizing that our skills and uh things that we can do kind of like align with those kind of things. I think we were able to draw from that more. Also, just like learning more about the instruments that we play, um, I think helped things a lot. Like I'm not really that trained in guitar, so I still feel like I'm sort of a beginner. Um, so just like learning more and having more confidence with that, uh, I'm able to like hear bands that I like and be like, oh, like I kind of understand what they're doing and like learning how to songwrite from that aspect. Like, um, I guess like a band like Swirlies who have all these different parts that are like cool instrumentals that change up a lot was something that I tried to like put in my writing or like kind of like Polvo. They do like a lot of like wacky things on the guitar. I was trying to like teach myself how to do more stuff like that. I think a lot of those kind of like 90s bands really inferred my writing on this one.
Yeah, I feel like we were interested and like still definitely are in like looking at how you could like make kind of just like a straightforward pop song but still blend it with like elements of like more aggressive and like louder and harsher sounds. So like yeah, I think that's why bands like Velocity Girl or even Swirlies were really big and influential for us, just because I feel like yeah, they kind of touch on a similar thing where like they're still making these like catchy and like very like addicting melodies to listen to, but like you kind of gotta like really key into it because there's like a bunch of other like noise and additional interesting textures going on. So like I don't know, we were interested in like that contrast.
Yeah. Like speaking of Velocity Girl, because they're in the Clueless soundtrack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like kind of like I understand exactly what you're talking about because like Clueless is like very colorful, very much a rom-com, like all those colors. And like you wouldn't think that a band like Velocity Girl, but like there are very much pop elements to their music.
yeah.
Yeah. That song specifically is one of my favorites. So it's cool. It's funny you brought that up.
Yeah.
But
Um,
like yeah, I want to make songs that could be in a rom-com.
no, I feel like we need to I speak about this all the time. I don't know how many times I brought this up on the podcast, but I'm gonna bring it up again. I feel like 2000s movies, like rom-coms, were like quintessential in me discovering my music taste. Like there were so many like good like rock bands that were featured in rom-coms or just teen movies that I
Yeah.
just feel like we don't get that anymore.
Yeah.
Like 10 Things I Hate About You, like had I'm blanking on the name, but like 10 Things I Hate About You had so many like good songs in it. Like this movie, this gymnastics movie had like Brain Stew in it. Like um even just like shows too, like Charmed and like One Tree Hill. Like Charmed had like P3, which is like a club that the sisters owned, and they would have indie rock bands come on, and One Tree Hill had a similar thing too. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And I feel like there's also such like a specific sound to that era of like music that I'm really interested in. Like I feel like yeah, there's just like music sounded a very specific way then, and I think it's awesome. And like yeah, I feel like nowadays it doesn't feel like movies are made like exclusively showcasing like contemporary music. I feel like they're pulling more from like all over the place or like whatever fits like the genre more. So like yeah, that is interesting that that was such an era where like yeah, I feel like soundtracks are like less of a thing that people care about now too.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of focus on like nostalgic needle drops where it's like this
Yeah,
movie's in the 80s and we're going to play like all the songs you remember from that or something.
yeah,
yeah,
But
like
yeah.
soundtracks and scores like don't excite me as much anymore. But recently, um, I watched the movie Challengers. Like it's not an original soundtrack that like brought me in, but like the score of that movie is like something that I have not seen in a movie in a long time. And it was really fun and exciting,
Cool.
especially how like the score like um took you along in the movie. It was really cool.
Yeah. I still got to watch that one, but I've heard good things.
No, yeah, it's really good.
Cool.
Um, yeah, but the gymnastics movie was Stick It
Okay.
cool.
that had
Stick it.
Brimstone in it. Yeah. It's really bad, but it's also really good.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's the best kind of movie, I think. So
yeah. So Shane, you live in Boston and Nick, you live in New York. How do you guys come together because you live in different states right now? Um,
It's kind of
to make
hard.
music.
We were just talking about that where
Really?
it's like gotten a lot harder than it used to be just because like we have other stuff going, we have just have like separate lives going on where it's like oh we need to like take off from work just to like meet up, like drive 4 hours just and meet up just to like show each other song ideas or like just work on new music and stuff. So it's been tricky, but we definitely make it work. I think like there's probably added benefits to it too. But if yeah, it forces us to get creative and it forces us to like really maximize our time together when we are together. And I feel like we are able to just like hunker down and get stuff done. And I don't know, we've been playing a lot too, so like that makes us be together a lot. So that
Hmm.
helps as well. But just a lot of driving.
Yeah.
yeah, I, I guess the biggest thing is like, yeah, like incorporating like it's hard to like write, I guess. Like um the person who drums for us right now lives in Boston. The person who plays bass for us right now lives in New York. So like if we wanted to like bring a new song in, like we pretty much never practice, and when we do, we're like practicing for a show or something. So it's like there's never any time to be like, do you want to like try to learn this new song? Like we have to like I don't know, schedule a practice just for that, and like one of us will have to drive to the other one. So it's pretty hectic, but I think Shane's right that it makes us really like maximize the time that we have together because I think part of the reason why this album took so long to come out is like a lot of the writing happened during COVID and you would think we'd have so much time. But I think because it was just kind of like endless days of nothing, we kind of found it hard to be creative. So now we have like, we're writing a new album already and we have like a deadline when we're going to record it and stuff. So because of that, I think it forces us to be really creative because just like got to grind out on that little bit of time and a little bit of like interaction that we have.
And you both were slash are film majors, right?
Yeah.
How do you think that helped influence your music? And like, who are some filmmakers that you like look up to or that are like inspiration?
I think it definitely used to a lot more. It's kind of funny because, yeah, I guess we both kind of left the film world behind a little bit when we like graduated and like, I don't know, stopped taking so many film related jobs. But back then, I feel like when our music was slow, really focused on making kind of like really visual, like kind of music that depicts a lot of imagery and not necessarily like about a certain thing, or it'd be more of like a feeling, which was kind of like the movies that we like to watch. Like we liked a lot of like slow movies, like Bella Tarr directed movies or Edward Yang and stuff like that. And I feel like now, especially since our music is more vocal driven, focus more on like writing songs about actual specific things. And I don't really know if like film infers that as much, but we did make a bunch of the music videos for this album. So I guess it still is there in us a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like film has become it's like kind of sad. It's become like such a small part of my life when it used to be such like a big part of my life. But like I feel like it's like informed the music making less and less these days, which I don't know. I think that was just like a natural progression from us kind of stepping away from film and more focusing on like making music and like doing the band stuff more and more.
Yeah, but also the entry point into film is a lot harder. I feel like, like you have to, it's really sad. It used to not be that way. Like you have to be really well connected in
Yeah.
order. Because like I was a film minor, because it's like you have so many resources when you're in school, and those kind of just like poof go away
Yeah.
when you're no longer in school.
Yeah,
Also, just
exactly.
like community in general, because it's like there'd be weekends where my friends would just be like, "Do you want to film something?" And like by nature of being on a campus,
Mhm.
could get a group of people together and do something. But now,
Yeah.
you're in
You
like,
also,
go
sorry,
for
what
it.
were you saying? Oh
I
no,
just think
you
you're
have to
more of an
kind
adult and like not everyone has the same schedule. So it's not like you can all just be like, yeah, let's do something.
yeah. I feel like you also have to like dedicate a lot of time to it if you want to make like a profession out of it. And like, I think since Joyer, like since we graduated, Joyer's like kind of been consuming more and more of our life. So it got to like a point where it was kind of like choose one thing or choose the other. I think we both enjoy doing this a lot more just because I think there's like egos in both like mediums and stuff, but it's easier to like find a community within music, I think, than it is with
Yeah.
film.
I
Um,
didn't like the lack of control that I had in film. Like I didn't like that I had to like rely on so many other people. Like I love making music because I could just like it could just I could have control over like everything and do like a lot of it myself and not have to like rely on like a whole crew of people to like collaborate or like execute my ideas. So like I don't know. I felt like once I realized that I was like, oh whoa, like music works a lot more for like me as someone who's like making things.
It's also cheaper if you're trying to
Yeah.
do it yourself, I think.
Mhm.
I think you could like get away with spending having like a smaller budget in music and making something really good than, not to say that you
Yeah.
can't with film, but like I think it's
Yeah, but like
harder
you
to do
like
that on
buy
your own.
one thing in film and it's like almost your entire budget
Yeah.
Exactly.
trying to prioritize everything.
Yeah.
What would you say are some movies that you've been really liking lately, like or anything that came out this year that
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I saw this year. Um,
I'm such a bad film graduate because like I feel like I don't really watch that many movies I used to watch so many movies, but and like I don't go to the movies as much. Um I don't know
I
if it
kind
was
of,
this year. I like the new Miyazaki movie. I thought that was fun.
yeah,
The one-
that was a good one. I feel like I kind of just watch like old movies because uh my mom bought me this Amazon Fire Stick that you could pirate movies on.
oh my God,
So
my
I
mom did the same thing to me.
yeah, it's
Wow.
so good. It's just so funny. She bought it from like someone who works at the high school in the town that she lives in. It's just like so funny how like sketchy it is. But I don't know. I've been watching like a lot of like John Carpenter movies, like his weird kind of like more actiony movies.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I go through like phases, I guess, that with like specific, like hyper specific things. Right now is kind of just like
Yeah.
these weird like crime movies from the 70s. But yeah, I don't know. I live in Ridgewood, so it's kind of hard to get to a movie theater without like
Uh,
going on a
like
couple
I
trains.
have AMC stubs.
Yeah.
And I just like take the L. I live in Richmond too. Um,
Okay.
but it's still far. Like you have to take the L into the city.
Yeah,
It's just like a whole thing.
exactly.
Like, you know.
I really want to get AMC stubs, but I'm actually planning on probably moving to either Philly or New Jersey. So once that happens, I'm gonna definitely get one of those kind of memberships because I'll be able to drive again and can
Yeah,
drive
driving is
wherever.
so much more clutch. I like it a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you should definitely invest in it. It's fun.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah.
it's a good time. Okay, back into music.
Yeah.
So did y'all create the music video for Softer Skin? Did you animate it yourselves or
That
No.
was actually our friend Sabrina who's sings on like half of the album. She does that like for a living. She makes music videos for like a lot of really cool bands like Yola Tango or The Smile, which is a Radiohead
yeah.
side project. And yeah, we were so lucky that she was like down to make it for us because that was like kind of blew my mind.
Yeah,
We didn't,
she's so good at what she does, and we were like, "Whoa, this
Yeah,
is
it's a
like,
really cool video.
yeah,
I liked a lot of your like I liked all of the music videos that you released for like this album. So I thought they were like really cool.
thank you.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the videos feel like found footage, like if you found someone's family SD card on the floor and then you just like plug it into your computer and press play.
Yeah.
that's cool."
What do you
Yeah.
think?
Sorry,
Oh,
what were you
sorry.
saying?
No, you go for it.
I kind of lost my train of thought. So
I was like, what kind of style were you going for when you were like making the music videos?
I think well we didn't make all of them. Like Sabrina made one, our friend Reese made another, and our friend Ben made another because they all do music videos pretty much for a living and really nice to do it for us. I think we don't really I don't know, we struggle with like concepts a lot. Like
Mhm.
I went to film school for editing, so I was never really like on the creative side. And I think Shane kind of feels the same. So kind of just want to go for something that's like somewhat visually interesting. Like we made one at this place called Wild West City, New Jersey, where it was like a little like a Wild West themed amusement park that we grew up going to, and we just thought that that would look really cool. Um, and uh, the video for Night Song that we have, I kind of just thought like that was one where I was actually being creative and I came up with that idea. But visually going for like what style we're going for, I think we just kind of like old like cameras. So most of the things that we shot were shot on Super 8 or on our VHS camera because I feel like it's kind of like a cheat code. Like you could kind of film anything and it'll look a little bit more interesting than if you were just to use something like digital.
Yeah, and it has like that nostalgic feel to it also.
Yeah.
I really liked the Silver Moon
Oh
um
yeah.
music video. How was that shot? Like how were like the
That
That was
was
funny.
yeah.
We yeah, that was my friend Reese who made that one, and we drove to a what is it called?
roller
Roller
derby?
derby. Yeah.
Roller derby. Yes, in Pennsylvania, and we knew we wanted to do like a performance um scene. So like our plan was to do it outside, but like it started like raining so much and
We also just drove like aimlessly for like
to
45
find a
minutes to find,
spot.
and it
Yeah.
was like this random like bakery factory parking lot. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, so it was just like kind of messy because it was like raining, but that one really cool shot he got from um driving around us in a car, and
Mm.
there was like the sunroof and he was like standing through the sunroof and
Yeah.
someone else was driving and just like circling us. I
It
thought
was
that was
really
really
sketchy because like they couldn't have their headlights on because it would like mess up the light.
Yeah.
And like he kept being like tighter circles. So like it was just
yeah.
I don't know, but it was cool. Like he really knows what he's doing, even if it feels like it's like made up on the spot. It always ends up cool because he's made some other videos for us. And yeah, that one is probably my favorite.
How was going to the roller derby?
That
That
was
was
really
awesome.
cool. Took me like a long time to figure out like what was happening because like I've
Mhm.
never watched it before, but it's like kind of a fascinating sport. I
It's
thought it was
really
gonna be
cool.
more violent though. People like I think in like movies they're always like fighting each other or like pushing each other down, but it was definitely not like that. It's still really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It like took me a while to get a sense of like the sport and like how like scoring worked and stuff like that. So like I
Mhm.
was really watching it for a while just to like figure it out because it was so interesting. Um, and it was cool. People were like really excited and happy to be there. Like it was like a championship, so it was really cool
Yeah,
to like
people were there from like across the country.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So in your past albums and songs, you used to have a lot more instrumental music. What made you decide to like change that and like have a lot more lyrical songs?
I think it
No.
was just like we were able to write vocals to all the songs this time. It was really what it was. And I think that we both kind of agreed that our album Perfect Gray, which came out before our most recent album, felt like it was a little bit too long because we put like 15 songs on there. So like part of the intention for this album was like let's keep it like short but make each song count. Not to say that like an instrumental song doesn't count, but like I don't know. We were like we felt really strongly about the like ones that we chose for this album. Like I think we had some instrumental songs written that we didn't use just because like it, I think it just kind of ended up being like our best songs were not instrumentals and that's how it happened.
Yeah, and also just like since like we went in with that goal of like having more vocal driven songs and like pushing ourselves, we were like, oh, um, we kind of prioritized the songs that um, have more emphasis on the singing.
Mhm. Okay, so For your playlist, you chose underrated. Um, would you say it's artists or songs?
I
I think
think most
artists.
I did art, yeah,
Yeah.
artists. Songs would have been, I should have thought of that. That would have been
What do you think qualifies a band to be like underrated?
I guess it's just like you don't really like hear anyone talking about them, or like if you show them to someone, they don't necessarily like know who they are. Um, I feel like success is all like relative though. So it was
Yeah.
kind of hard to choose because I was like, I don't know, like to me, this person's like legendary. But so that we kind of relied a little bit on like monthly listeners, even though I feel like it's just such like an arbitrary thing.
Yeah.
But I think yeah, it's mostly just like kind of artists that I know that we both listen to a lot that I don't necessarily think I've ever had like a conversation about with other people.
I like that you guys had really Konigsberg in here.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
when I first moved to New York, I think their album Proud Home came out. Is that the name of it? Let me fact check myself really quick. No, it's Lily, We Need to Talk Now. Um,
Mhm.
I really was obsessed with that album though, like Proud Home, Sweat Forever.
Yeah, she's like one of the best songwriters I feel like there is doing it right now. I just saw her at Union Pool the other night and it was so good.
Yeah. Um, what do you think are some of your favorite tracks on this playlist?
I was gonna
Um
say, yeah, for the most part, I was had the same mindset of like choosing artists that people don't really talk about as much. But I also chose The Cradle, which I feel like people seem like they do talk about them a
yeah,
lot.
Yeah,
But I chose
I
them
feel
because I think that they're just like one of the best songwriters like I've ever heard. And I'm like, why is this not like famous? It's like so good. So like I was like, this is just underrated by like I am blown away by these songs and they feel like so like timeless that like it surprises me that not
yeah. I feel like that
as many.
happens a lot too, though, like where you're like you hear a lot of people talking about a band if you're in a particular scene, but like you're like, when is it gonna like just blow up and ignite?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's how I feel because I
yeah,
feel
that's
like
similar
such
to
like a
like
bigger audience could enjoy it. Like it's like
mhm.
that good.
I feel like that's the same with like Lily and Brittle Brian, who are both on here too. They're both like think they have like their fans that listen to them like know or like feel the same as us that they're like so amazing, like super talented people, but they haven't like become like as big as it feels like they should be.
Yeah. And I put Brittle Brian on because the they're also in that band called At, which is like a lot more, I feel like
Yeah.
gained a lot more traction. But I just think this album, Biodiesel, is like some of my favorite work of theirs. It's like so good. And
Check that out
yeah.
'cause I like App a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should. It's awesome.
Um, but when you asked like our favorite, I think it's kind of funny. Number one on there, at least for me, and I feel like maybe for you, Shane, the These Days Are Old by Spooky Rubin
Oh
is like
yeah.
probably my favorite on the whole thing. Um, he's just like some guy from the 90s that our friend showed us once, and we kind of got like super hooked. And he was kind of like a legend to us for so long. We got to play with him a couple years ago, and it was like kind of mind blowing. It was like the first time we ever played with like a band that we really looked up to. It was like kind of early on in Joyer, and I think that kind of adds to like us being still into him to like even today. And I think that's a big inspiration for our music too, even though it might not sound like it because it's kind of wacky. He definitely does like a lot of cool like things with like melody, but also offbeat
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like
music.
wacky pop music, which
Mhm.
I feel like that's like the coolest thing to me. Like that's what I want to be making.
Yeah, I love that Shane you put Hood on here. A friend of mine like introduced me to them like late last year, and I really
Yeah, I kind of forgot about them because I feel like I don't know many people that know them at all. I forget how I found them, but they're awesome. I feel like that whole like kind of slowcore
yeah,
genre, there's like kind of a rabbit hole you could go down, and like since it's kind of like a small like subgenre, you could find like so many smaller artists, especially from like the 90s when like it seemed like that kind of stuff was getting
fine.
started. Yeah. So, yeah, I was glad that making this playlist like reintroduced me to them because I forgot how good they were.
A
And
lot, oh, go for it.
sorry, yeah, added one last song. Actually, while we were still talking, I was like, oh, I know the perfect song to add. Um, and it's this song called "Lovely Lady of the Roses" that I think is probably like our most played song on tour. Like we all love it so much, and it's just like so weird and really cool. The instrumentals are really cool, but like you don't really notice them because it sounds like it's really straightforward. But I feel like the drumming is really
The
cool, and
drumming
there's
is
such
crazy.
interesting sounds. But like altogether, it's like such a goofy, like kind of funny song.
Yeah,
I just think it's genius.
awesome. I'll have to listen after we get off
Okay.
the um interview. So a lot of these are kind of like older bands, I would say like minus, Little Brian, Lake Experience, like The Cradle, maybe some
hmm
other ones too. But like would you say are some rising, underrated modern bands?
I think the first one that comes to my head is Melina Cole, who's like
So I
definitely
like
like
that.
more, yeah, he's more known than like probably everyone on this playlist, if not most of them. But I think like his music is like probably music that I imagine like even if people discover it like decades from now, will be like, this is really good. Like I think he kind of just like, I don't know. His music to me feels like timeless. Like we've been into him for so long, and I think he's just like approaching songwriting in like such a different way that I feel like not everyone does.
Yeah.
Someone who's on this playlist who's a newer artist is Sammy Melman, who's kind of just like a hometown guy who we've known forever. Um, but like we were fans of his music before we even met him, even though he's from like suburban New Jersey. And um, his music, I think, is underrated, and I hope that it gets up there eventually because he's just like an extremely talented musician. He does like barbershop quartet, so like his harmonies within his songs that he writes are like really nice. Trying to think of who else is worth mentioning. Um, Honestly, like everyone on Julia's where I feel like should be like have it all because everyone's so sweet and makes like the coolest music. We just played Julia's War Fest this
I
weekend.
asked if you had like played that festival.
Yeah, and it every year like it's such a great time because like yeah, it's like such a nice community, and everybody's so supportive and just all so talented that I feel like if you're looking for like underrated music and you kind of like the kind of stuff that we make or slowcore, shoegaze, indie rock adjacent stuff, like you can do no wrong just like looking at the roster.
I love Blixen and
Oh yeah,
trying to see like um, there's like a lot of other bands on the label that are cool. Like
yeah, like
User,
Yeah,
so yeah.
they're awesome.
what about you, Shane? Do you have any?
I was gonna say Milena Cole too, because we're like that's like our favorite band ever. But
Oh, Shep Treasure, who
yeah,
is Sabrina, who made our music video and sings on a lot of our songs. I think her music is just like
yeah,
also because I used to drum in her band. And whenever she'd like teach me a new song, I'd be like, "This is amazing!" Like I was so Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I felt so lucky to be a part of it for a bit before she moved out to New York.
Yeah, she makes the best music. Her newest album that I guess came out like over a year ago now is I still like listen to it all the time. It's really, really good. And like we were so honored that she wanted to be featured on the album so much. So that was really cool. And I think that really I don't know, made this album at least stand out for me. I feel like it added it was like the perfect addition to take it to the next level. I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, like, I feel like I want to just say like any band that like we're friends with, because like there's so much good music out there that like not that many people know about. And like, yeah, it's hard to. Oh, sorry.
Or
It's hard to get people to listen to your music, and there's like so much good music out there. So like, it's you know there's a lot of underrated stuff out
yeah.
there.
So controversial question. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. But what are some overrated bands in your opinion?
Oh, um,
um, I feel like I could think of some good ones, but The Who. I just say that because our bass player is a huge Who fan, and I really don't like them, and I feel like we're always arguing over that.
yeah,
Um,
I never really got into Radiohead. I know that's like some people's favorite, but it just never really clicked for me. Who else? I want to go on like bashing stuff and
yeah,
piss people off, but
we both kind of think that we're not like we like Nirvana, and it was like a big part for
oh,
upbringing, but I think that we're not like big Nevermind heads. I guess we both kind of think that there's
I
better
don't know.
bands out there.
Honestly, I kind of think that's the perfect answer for me.
Yeah.
I don't I don't know. Yeah, we they were like super important to us growing up, but I feel like it just doesn't hold up for me as much, and I kind of feel like they're a little overrated. I feel like there's more way more interesting music happening at the time.
Yeah.
But
That's another Tor Van argument is Pixies versus Nirvana because we're both big Pixies fans.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I still think that they have good stuff, but overall, I don't know. They don't do as much for me as they used to.
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like it's like an intro to grunge stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. That's a
And you
good
listen, and then you're like, yeah, there's so many other great things that
Mhm.
were happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we're doing that, I decided that like we could play like a mini little game um where I rip off Pitchfork and like do over or underrated and just
Okay.
little little things. Okay.
Mm,
First thing, music festivals.
Probably
um,
overrated. I
I
feel
think
like they're
so
like
too.
so expensive. I don't know. Maybe they're
Yeah.
fun. I don't know. I haven't really been to that many aside from like mini ones. Those
Yeah.
are cool.
Mini
I
ones are
But
think
cool.
mhm.
I would
yeah.
also say overrated, especially like 3 days is too long, especially like if it's on a campground, it's like a lot of walking and then you're just tired and it's a lot of being dehydrated. And then
Yeah.
water stations are few and slim and like the water is lukewarm there is any. And then if you want to buy water, it's $5.
Yeah. It
Um,
just
I think the
seems
sound's not good a lot of times too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think music festivals are good in the sense that I tend to see artists that I never would see
oh yeah, that's
my own
cool.
money. If that
Yeah.
Mhm.
like I saw Ariana Grande at Lollapalooza because I was like, I would never pay, not that she's not a good artist, but I just never would pay my own money to go see Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's true.
let me go check out her set right now. Because I would never do
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also thinking about we just did like the anti South by and
Mm.
kind of found a lot of artists that we wouldn't necessarily go or like even seek out to listen to through that. So I think they
Yeah,
have their merits, but overall they're probably overrated.
maybe they're underrated now that you say that.
So indecisive.
I don't know. I feel like South by is a little bit different because I went to South by too, like the other like outside of that. So I feel like it's less
Yeah,
music festival-y because it's like
Mhm.
also it's like at bars and things like that.
yeah, I
And
That's
it's a
think
true.
lot
just
of lesser known artists too. It's not like big names. So it's like a lot of
Mhm.
yeah,
music discovery, in my opinion.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
true.
next one. New York.
If you asked me like a little while ago, I would have said just rate it. I actually no, I don't think that there was ever a time that I didn't think that it was overrated. I feel like my
Really?
now that I'm like no,
Damn.
no, I always think that it's overrated, right? Because
Really?
yeah, because it's like the biggest city in the world, or whatever.
Yeah.
Not the biggest city in the world, but one of like the cities that everybody wants to move to. I used to love it. I still love it, but I love it a little bit less. I think I'm getting a little bit sick of it. Um, just
I
because
think
like
it's
the small apartments. Um, I don't know. We've seen how other people, how our friends in like, I don't know, Philly or New Jersey live where you could get so much more space for so much less. And
yeah.
I don't know. I
I think
lived here for like over a year and a half and I'm a little tired now.
Yeah.
And
I think it's
Shane.
overrated. Um, yeah, I was just saying that I don't know. I hate that everyone leaves wherever I am and moves there.
Mhm.
So maybe it's a little bit of resentment, but I don't know. I don't
Like
really get the
all your
appeal.
friends.
Yeah, all my friends moved there, and it's cool, but it's just like I don't think it's as cool as everybody is like saying it is. Like every it seems like yeah, like everyone wants to go there, and I feel like so many people end up like kind of disappointed and like wanting to leave. Like I've had a lot of friends that have moved there and then or like even Nick that like don't spend that much time there and end up wanting to go somewhere else. So I don't know. It's cool to visit, but I don't think it's like all that it's cracked up to be. I'm surprised that you said overrated. I'm glad that we agree.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. It has its ups and downs. I think
Not
overall,
enough nature either for me. Like I love being able in Boston, I could like drive 10 minutes and like be on like a nice walk in like the woods. That is important for me. Or I went swimming today. That was cool.
I feel like he's always like defending Boston to people. And so you're opening up a can of worms here, but we're on the same page though.
Yeah, but that's why people go to the Catskills,
Yeah.
just go
Yeah,
upstate.
but that, yeah, I guess so.
Um, okay, shoegaze.
uh I feel like it's gonna be so pretentious to say, but overrated. I feel like um I guess like people consider our new music shoegaze, and I'm not going to say that they're wrong. They're probably right, but I don't really listen like I listen to it that much. I feel like I'm really like picky about the shoegaze bands that I like, and also, um, I don't know. I'm getting a little tired of seeing them a lot. I guess now that this new album has kind of a new sound, we play with a lot of them, and like, there's no one that I'm like I don't want to like everybody's really good. I'm just like starting to become ready to hear a new genre. Not to say like people should stop making shoegaze or anything. I think just specifically for me, I've been getting a little burnt out on it.
I think it's cool. I'm like a little bit like unclear these days as to like what it even is. Like I feel like it's just
Mhm.
like kind of put on it's like a label that's put on like so much music these days that I'm like, oh, that's shoegaze now. I mean that I like that, so that's
Mhm.
cool. But
I think that's what's making me feel like it's overrated too. Yeah, just because it's becoming like kind of like the term indie or whatever, where it's
yeah,
like more about like who you're like what bands you play with or like how you present yourself, I guess, than like the music itself.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's cool stuff there. It wouldn't be something I would want to listen to all the time, though.
Yeah, no, there's like an infinite amount of cool shoegaze bands that I love. Pretty much everyone that we play with, but I don't know. I'm ready to hear what comes next, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like that's also, I feel like I don't even like defining genres sometimes because I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of people will, like, one person will say it's this, another person will say it's that, and then I'll think it's something else. And it's just,
Yeah,
it makes my head hurt. But like also at the same time, I feel like it is good to have a community that you can like be like, oh, we make this type of music. But
yeah,
Yeah, I think like our goal is to kind of try to make music that we could play with a lot of different types of bands. With like it will fit with other bands. Like I don't know. We just played with like Beethoven, who we really like, who's like
mhm.
not a shoegaze band. I think we were definitely kind of loud for that bill, but I don't think it was like completely out of the realm of possibilities to play with them. So I think that I don't know. I like bands when they like transcend genres where like that song sounds kind of shoegaze, but that song sounds
yeah,
kind of like pop or something like that.
yeah. I like that too. I like variety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Picking slash releasing singles.
Overrated.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. um, I
We
feel like
both have this thing where we like sort of like write an album and like think of it as like a collection of songs. And I don't know, like it's hard. It's like even like as a music consumer, I like to like hear an album all the way through and not like be spoiled for with like a single. And then
yeah,
on top of that, it's just like feels so lame to have to like I don't know do like the promotion thing and like I don't know make Spotify algorithms happy by doing this a certain way and all that. And it's hard to just like pick one where it's like, well,
Yeah.
are people gonna like this one more than this one? Like to me, it's just all like one big project. So I think it's overrated.
What I hate the most, I think, is sometimes when bands will pick the best song on the album
Mhm.
and then make it a single. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, it's so sad, especially if it's like a band that you just found through that song and you're excited to explore more. And it's like, oh,
So,
well, that was the peak.
yeah. And then, but I do like singles because most of the time, like they're accompanied with music videos and I like seeing visuals. So,
That's true. Yeah, I feel like we're also bad at picking over and under because there's everything's
there's,
nuanced.
yeah, a whole lot of nuance to everything. Um,
Yeah,
my next one was music videos. Do you think they're like overrated or underrated?
that one's hard too because like I feel like uh I think that I'm picky about music videos where like I think a lot of them are kind of just like whatever. And I also feel that about kind of a lot of ours. And I kind of hate the fact that I need to make them. Like, I don't know, when we make music videos, we're like, oh, I hate that we have to do this. But then in retrospect, we're like, oh yeah, it was nice that we have this. So I don't know if I could choose over or under. I guess like underrated because they're not utilized as much as they used to. You know, they can't play on TV. People don't really see them as much.
Yeah. But I
But I
will
do
say
have
I
my
saw
gripes.
Bebo making a comeback or
Oh
Vivo,
yeah.
however you say it.
Yeah, yeah.
Comeback low key.
Oh, that's promising then. I don't know. What do you think about it, Shane?
um, yeah. I don't know. It's probably underrated. I think they're cool. I think it's like cool if you like really like a song to like get like a bit more to it. Like sometimes, and it's cool. I don't know. It could like give you more of a sense about the band. I don't know if that adds things for people. Um, yeah, I don't know. They seem like they seem like they're underrated, I guess. I don't know. It's I don't have that many strong feelings towards it. They're cool. I sometimes we get a little bit stressed out about having to make so many of them, but I think that's the whole singles problem that we
Yeah.
addressed. So,
All right. I only have a couple more, so I'll stop like stressing all out on
Yeah.
this. But early shows.
Mhm. You mean like early in the day?
Yeah, like early or
Um,
late shows. I feel like this is more of a New York thing, but they're like early and
yeah.
late shows.
Well,
Yeah.
I definitely think that like the fact that there is early and late shows are completely overrated or whatever you want to call it in New York,
Mhm.
because I feel like it's not much of a thing anywhere else, and it's kind of frustrating to have like this hard stop. Like even at the last show we played in New York, like we played an early show and had to like we couldn't like finish selling merch. We got like yelled at.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was kind of frustrating because they were like, we got the late show. But I think overall, I guess they're underrated, depending on if they start, I don't know, 6 or 7. That's underrated because I get sleepy, I guess. Um, but again,
Yeah.
they're nuanced.
A
So
lot of times, like depending on which city we're playing in, half of us have to do like a lot of driving. So I think early shows are nice for us
mm,
specifically. So I'll say underrated.
yeah, overall underrated, I guess.
Yeah, I
But
didn't
I
think of
just,
it from like the band perspective because like if I'm thinking of it from the consumer perspective, I think they're underrated. I like going to bed early. And I
Yeah.
yeah,
also hate a late show. I hate a show that's starting at 11 p.m.
Yeah, it's tough.
yeah.
in bed.
I guess just the only thing is like sometimes like I can't get to the show on time if I'm like
Yeah.
working or doing something. But overall, like when the show ends and it's like, oh man, like I get to go to bed so early tonight, you really can't beat that. So I'm gonna go underrated.
Yeah. Okay, four band bills.
Honestly, underrated because people are, I think like the trend now is to be um like I like a shorter show, but like I don't know. My only like social life is really going to shows, and I love seeing bands, and I love seeing people that I know that are at shows. So to me, I can see why they're tiring, but I would say underrated.
I'll probably say overrated. I like how less bands on a bill makes people, it seems like it makes people more attentive to each band because like the natural um flow of a show leads people to like need breaks, I feel like. So like when there's more bands, I feel like there's higher chances of like everyone like not paying attention for one band. Like I like seeing bands a lot too, but I don't know. Three, and I feel like it's nice and concise that way. And I don't know. Shows can be a little tiring when you're doing them a lot. So if they're like
Yeah.
shorter, sometimes it's easier to I don't know. Yeah, it's easier to like be more present the whole time. Cause I think like yeah, it's hard to like stand and be fully attentive and which I want to be doing for like bills with like a bunch of bands.
I think three is like the perfect. I
Yeah,
think
three's
my
nice.
maximum
Yeah.
because I agree. I feel like my attention span is short. And then also it depends on the venue too, because if the venue has like a smoking area slash exit, then I feel like in between people take longer and longer outside. So when the band does start, there's no one in there, even though the
Yeah.
room is full, like
Yeah.
Mhm.
the room is full, but everyone's outside and there's no system in place to be like, hey, everyone, the
Mhm.
show is starting again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is the last one.
Okay.
Playlists.
Um, I would say overrated. I like to listen to albums, and I also think that I don't know, the like Spotify playlists are kind of weird. They're feel um there's I feel like there's like it's not about the music sometimes. Even like with user generated playlists, it's kind of just like sometimes it's kind of just about like uh what makes this playlist come off cooler, or like I don't know. Or like it's weird that like you could get like popular as a person or as like a creator of playlists. I don't know. But then at the same time, I think it's important because they like introduce people to new music and stuff. So again, it's like nuanced, but I guess like as a person that consumes music, I would say they're overrated just because I don't really use them that often.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't like hate them. I just don't really use them. I like to listen to albums a lot, and like that's what I love focusing on when we're like making music. I just think like the sequencing of songs is really interesting, and it's something that I want to hear like in order front to back. So like I don't really make a lot of playlists on for myself, but I
I
get
do
why
love
people.
making them for other people actually, because we've been as a band, like I mean, we just made one for you even, but we've been making a couple for different like publications or even just friends. And honestly, that's really fun.
Yeah.
But like on the other side of it, like listening to them, I don't really do as much.
Yeah, I was gonna be contrarian because I like when like that's like the nature of like why I started this. I like learning about other people's tastes, their
Mm,
playlists that they make. And then also, because I'm not really like a vibe playlist
mm,
creator. And I do like listening to albums all the way through. I think that's my preferred method of listening. But I do like keeping a record of what I'm listening
mm.
to because sometimes I feel like I listen to a lot of things. So then I'll listen to an album once and I'll forget about it. So like I keep
Yeah,
Mm.
like keeping a log
that makes
of
Yeah.
what I'm
sense.
listening to.
I think it depends how you like approach it, I guess. Like I think some people are kind of doing it as like a like almost like a popularity thing. And I think if your heart's in the right place and you're trying to turn people onto music, then it's underrated.
Hell yeah.
So we're kind of coming to the end of the podcast. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
um, I guess we're playing in New York again. Uh, when is that?
June
We're playing at
23rd.
23rd of June.
we're playing at Elsewhere.
Mhm.
That's probably that's our next show. Then we're playing again in New York in July 26th at the Knitting Factory. So
I love Mia Joy. I'm excited about that show.
That's gonna be awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's great.
And we'll be going on tour later in the summer too. So that's what we
Yeah.
got going on. And thank you so much for having us. This was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much for doing this. This has been really fun.